Good afternoon. Welcome to Military Strategies. We are live right now, February 24th, 2026, 3:15. Regarding Israel, Iran has deployed ballistic missiles with a range of 1,000 kilometers on the border with Iraq. And we want to understand what the purpose of all this is, why they are deploying so many missiles, and what their intention is. Also, breaking news. It is leaked from Israel that Iran might possess chemical and biological weapons and would be willing to use them in a dire situation. The fall of the regime? Fam, your likes, your comments, Military Strategies Live. We're starting. Fam, good afternoon. Welcome to Military Strategies. The situation, I'm not going to lie, is critical. The situation is closer to exploding, and not in a good way. Right now, two countries are facing what could be the biggest crisis known in the history of the 21st century, the biggest war known of the 21st century. Besides the war between Ukraine and Russia, precisely in 2022, it feels like it was yesterday. The Russians began to invade Ukraine in a ruthless, cruel war that is leaving thousands and thousands of victims, especially civilians, and also military personnel. And now we are about to start another one. A mega country like Iran is about to open fire against a rather small country, but one that is very great in spirit, strong in convictions, and in democracy, as Israel is the only democratic country in the entire Middle East region that guarantees its citizens they can live in peace within its territory until October 7th. Family, we're in a complicated situation right now. Yesterday, Netanyahu spoke out. Yesterday, Lapid spoke out to say things that are starting to show us the seriousness of the situation. Where are we right now? What's happening? What? And if it is, what has been leaked today in the media by a retired IDF member, but with considerable knowledge, Amir Abibi, is true. Iran could right now have weapons loaded with unconventional munitions deployed, waiting for Iran to give the order to launch. We're talking about chemical weapons, biological weapons, very dangerous weapons. Family, this is a news channel. It's about information, military strategies. Its only purpose is to provide knowledge, information, news about what's happening, about what's going on. We don't want to scare anyone. Let's analyze the situation. What is the situation? What kind of missiles are we talking about that have been deployed on the border with Iran? Where are they located? Why are they deployed? And what would be Iran's operational plan or operation in the event of an attack by the United States or by Israel, which from this moment, February 24th, 2026, could, and moreover would be justified, launch an attack on Iran to ensure that those birds, the Iranian missiles, don't take off heading toward Israel. We are at the moment at the peak of tension today when Larijani flies to Oman to deliver the draft of the Iranian proposal in the negotiations with the United States of America. Let's remove the part about Mincho, sorry. That was from the other day. Greetings to our people in Mexico. We have more information about Mincho later. We'll see it later on. Iran deploys missiles on the border with Iraq, and the question is why? Why? For what purpose? What is the reason for these missiles being deployed? What kind of missiles are they? What is their range, and why are they so dangerous? Well, this is going to surprise you. They're not big. Actually, they're small, short range, but there are many of them. They're cheap to build, and they can create real chaos if they start launching them. We're live right now, folks, and I actually want to show you a video, so don't go anywhere, because things are happening right now. While we're talking, I want to show you a video of what's happening right now. We see a lot of them here. Air base in the United Kingdom, England, F-22 planes taking off heading to the theater of operations. The F-22s, which are about to enter the surgical theater to break through Iran's air defenses. Footage from a few minutes ago has been leaked. The most important air superiority aircraft on this planet, the most advanced, the one with the greatest capabilities, right now joining its brothers that were already waiting in the theater of operations. Weaponry keeps arriving, missiles keep arriving, operatives keep arriving in the area of operations. It's nonstop, and that's normal. A war is being prepared, and it's not to deter Iran. Here we see them. We see ourselves. Pay attention to this plane. Electronic warfare plane. Another rivet joint, I've already lost count of how many we have, around 6 AWACS deployed, airborne radars, airborne command, 6 rivet joints. I think there are 3 or 4 already, or there could even be 5 deployed right now. Coming down from England, the F-22 Roma 02. '03. Here. 05. Here. At least 5 tankers. Dragging fighter jets right now. From the United Kingdom heading south. Heading to Greece. Soda Bay. The aircraft carrier spent the night there. Right now, we don't know if it's still in the bay or already headed to Israel. Are the parameters we were talking about being met, the ones we mentioned? Aircraft carrier arrives at Suda Bay, Greece. Logistics are prepared. Acclimatization, heading to Israel. It's expected to arrive tonight or tomorrow. So nobody should make any plans for the next few hours, which could be vital. We are right now in the middle of the most important, most critical situation of this entire war. The final logistical push is about to arrive. C-17 planes crossed last night, and tanker planes like this Gol 86 are still crossing now, plus F-22s that are crossing the pond. There's nothing else like it in the world right now. By the way, speaking of tankers, greetings to Venezuela and the Caribbean Sea, Beto 51 and Vito 50. They're out hunting over there, going around. There was a raid. Today, ships have been seized again. Oil tankers have been confiscated. The United States doesn't give in. It doesn't have to. Now, we also see something curious and interesting. Planes start arriving in northern Iraq. Planes start arriving in Turkey. They start using Turkish airspace. Be careful, we'll discuss this too. There's a move we hadn't counted on, a move we didn't have on the table, but obviously it comes into play in this equation. For weeks now, the United States of America has been evacuating troops from Syria. They have been abandoning military bases because they are not defensible in the event of a ballistic missile and drone attack. From Iraq, Iran, the United States has withdrawn to strong positions in Kuwait, Iraq, and Saudi Arabia. Pay attention to this photograph because I think it's going to be quite significant. Information, training. We're live, everyone. Your likes are super important right now. First show of the day, and today is going to be a day full of surprises. A day of surprises, so stay tuned. Image of the Al Udeid Air Base in Qatar. Al Udeid is being evacuated. There are no more fighter jets, only a few tankers and transport planes remain, which are evacuating from one base to another. Where to? Where are they going? What is the preferred option for the United States of America? To withdraw, to move away from the area, from the 500 kilometers of airspace or territory of Iran, in order to avoid running into problems. Chinese spy satellite? We could put it that way because they've spent a whole week just taking pictures of where the United States is. There we see them, the white ones, the AWACS, the ones behind, tankers, all with fuel. Where are they? At an air base in Saudi Arabia. That's where they've been taken, as well as to the air base in Jordan. They have created distance. It's what had to happen. Look, we have changed the proximity from Qatar to Iran, from the Al Udeid base to the Prince Sultan base in Saudi Arabia. Where are we? We're here, family. Now we have a distance of 680 kilometers. (600 kilometers), 900 kilometers to Bandar Abbas. Before, from Qatar, the base was 300 kilometers from Iran. Less than 300 kilometers. What does this achieve? To put space between the United States and Iran's short-range ballistic missiles? Missiles which, as we'll see now, are dangerous. There we are. Remember these names. Defu, Zulfagar. Iran has deployed Desfu missiles and Zulfagar missiles on the border with Iraq, along the entire perimeter of Iran, heading west. Why these missiles? Iran has bigger missiles that they can launch from much farther territories. Here, in this video you're watching, comes one of the main explanations for this issue. They are small, short, highly mobile missiles that can also be launched in salvos, and the launchers that carry them can be dual launchers. They are missiles with destructive capability, as you are seeing right now. What is Iran's plan? We mentioned it the other day. Iran? Saturate air defenses, destroy radars, and then launch salvos of missiles like these Zolfagar and Desful missiles to create chaos in cities and military bases. That's where the story is. That's where the issue lies. They're low-cost missiles. Iran has built hundreds of them. The molds are very cheap for them. The propulsion system is very inexpensive. They have low accuracy, but they have so many that by firing a salvo, they're sure to hit something. Why don't they launch them first? Is it because these missiles have limited capability? Limited capability for what? Do they have to hold them back because of anti-aircraft systems so that when the time comes and the air defenses are low, they can launch them? Humans, as always, looking for ways to cause more harm. To other human beings? It seems that since we were created, that's how we were made. I don't believe that. I think that when all of this is over, there will be coexistence, a better future for all the people, for the region. But that's not the only news. The news is that these missiles could carry non-conventional warheads, non-conventional. What has been said today about this matter? We're going to see it. It's tremendous. If the news is confirmed, it's tremendous. Reserve Brigadier General Amir Avivi, founder of the Israel Defense and Security Forum, said in an interview that Iran could already possess operational chemical and biological warheads for its ballistic missiles. Avivi said that the threat is not theoretical and that there is a good chance they already have it. They claim that Iran has accelerated the production of advanced missiles after the 12-day war in June 2025. He warned that some future attacks could involve non-conventional warheads, including chemical ones. Avivi outlined the three possible scenarios. 1. An Iranian preemptive strike. 2. An Israeli preemptive strike. 3. A military operation. And which, according to what was said, is the one he expects the most. The Israel Defense Forces reported that there have been no changes in the directives from the Home Front Command and that no specialized or updated civil defense guidelines have been issued. Witkoff, the United States envoy, Steve Witkoff, said on Sunday, "The most terrible. Iran's probably a week away from having industrial-grade bomb material." What does Witkoff mean by that story? Nuclear weapons, chemical weapons. What's this whole story about? If we look at the following and pay attention to this, if we focus on this point, it's going to be interesting. I'm going to show you exclusively one of the military bases that Israel attacked in the 12 days war. Goodbye. Let's take a look. The missile is named after the region where it is built. Here we see it again. The entrance, cars outside, command area, assembly warehouses, rocket remains, manufacturing areas, containers, transport containers, and trailers to transport the missiles. This is where the story begins. Inside this mountain, it would be full of short-range missiles of about 1,000 kilometers, approximately 1,000 kilometers and something, ready to come out of there, set to be launched. Inside there, in these places, you can see the shadow. Unfortunately, they've done it in the shadow of the mountain, so it can't be seen. But around here, there are different exits, different entrances to go out and scatter all along the border near Iraq. 200 kilometers to the nearest border point. This fool.
¿Cuál sería la opción?
Iran. I think we would be talking about areas very, very close to the border with Iraq. In fact, some of these missiles may have already entered Iraqi territory to be launched. It would be like the life insurance of a regime that, obviously, is facing its total destruction from the border, from the point near Iraq, still on Iranian territory. Let's do a terrifying, terrible calculation of kilometers, something we don't like. Let's see if the devil could reach Israel. Well, it seems that they could. The worst part isn't that. The worst part about the default issue and the Zulfiqar is that they can be buried. You heard that right? Iran could have buried these missiles in what you see here. In some kind of tubes, like containers. There could be hundreds of Zulfiqar and Daful missiles buried, ready to be launched. Thank you. In the desert, in the middle of nowhere. In the last few hours, there's been a lot of noise that there are generals in the United States who are not supporting the attack. Some people say, and we must admit, this is a war of distraction and deception. When the United States seems most hesitant to launch the attack, that's when it's actually closest to doing it. I'll say again what I always say, the art of war is the art of deceiving the enemy. And when they think you're far, you're actually close. When you're close, you're both close and far. That's the art of war that must be used with Iran. They themselves don't know it, but they're taking preventive measures. But it's also a sign of total weakness. Also, the fact that they've deployed all these platforms, that they've set them up and are aiming them at American bases, means that they have no other option of. It's their last card to avoid total confrontation. If they launch them, they surely will. There will also be war. After they launch them, there won't be more. Yesterday, Bibi said something important. And Lapid, too.
Has this opportunity to send a clear message to our enemies.
Allow me this opportunity, says Lapid, head of the opposition, representative of the Israeli left. Allow me to take this opportunity to send an important message to our enemies.
It doesn't matter who is in the government of Israel.
It doesn't matter who is in the government of Israel.
We always know how to defend ourselves.
We will always know how to defend ourselves.
We will always attack those who seek to do harm.
And we will always strike those who try to harm us.
I say especially to the Iranian regime.
I say this especially to the Iranian regime.
We will never allow you.
We will never allow you to build missiles that could threaten our people. Again,
Your terror proxies
your terror proxies, terrorist groups,
will never be given a moment's peace.
they will never have a moment of peace.
And never, never will nuclear weapons be allowed.
And you will never have nuclear weapons.
My position is clear. It is
My position is clear.
to attack the foundations of the regime.
My position is clear. To strike the foundations of the regime, the foundational structure. Is he talking about the Ayatollah?
The people of Israel deserve
The people of Israel deserve to live in security. The people of Iran
deserve freedom and a better
deserve to have freedom and a better life.
life. The Middle East deserves
The Middle East deserves a future of peace and prosperity.
Israel is going to be united.
Israel va a estar.
There will be no opposition coalition during
There will be no opposition or coalition during the war.
war with Iran. Prime Minister Netanyahu
Look, what he's saying, he's already saying that there's going to be a war. It's Lapid saying it. It's not Bibi saying it. It's Lapid saying it. There's going to be a war, they say. There won't be a coalition against Netanyahu's government.
Prime Minister Netanyahu and I are going to set aside our differences.
Prime Minister Netanyahu and I have set aside our differences for the defense of our country.
For the defense of our people.
Para defender a nuestra gente.
All of Israel will be united behind our soldiers and pilots.
Y pilotos.
Lapid. Strong statement. Very, very strong. Lapid is saying it. There's something people don't understand. In Europe, in the Western world, on this issue, there's no difference between the left and the right. We must stop the Iranian threat. That's how they see it. That's how they see it. This isn't about the left winning. Iran is not going to want to destroy Israel. No. Iran wants to destroy Israel. It wants to do it. Habibi said, very hard days are coming. The festival of Purim is approaching. We have to stay united, more united than ever, shoulder to shoulder. The people, the civilians, the army, the emergency services. We are prepared for any scenario. I have made it clear, the Ayatollah's regime, if they attack Israel, we will respond with unimaginable force, no problem. We are united. Goodbye. And that's what this means. If Iran launches the attack first against Israel, what happens? The legendary phrase. Have you opened it? The gates of hell will fall upon the Iranian regime. If the United States attacks Iran and Iran responds by attacking Israel, Iran will bring about the destruction of the Iranian regime. Which makes the scenario that this leaves us with interesting, very interesting. Yesterday, tanker planes arrived at Ben Gurion Airport in Tel Aviv. Planes deployed, prepared. Subscribe to the channel for in-flight refueling. That doesn't mean that Israel is going to attack first, nor does it mean that Israel is going to attack together with the United States. What it means is if we are attacked, we are prepared to defend ourselves and respond. What is the possible scenario in this story? What are the options? If Iran launches an attack, it will be perhaps in response to the United States or against U.S. bases. If it does so against Israel, total madness. The video we're watching, how Iran wants to close the Strait of Hormuz using drones and missiles. There we see them, drones and missiles, to close the Strait of Hormuz. Another of the scenarios, theaters of battle in this war, but there are more, many more. The protests in Iran continue and are growing. The right conditions are being created for the fall of the regime. What has Iran done? This? It's going to seem like living history to you. It's not the Great Wall of China, no. It's the Iranian wall. Iran has built a physical wall in the Kurdish area. For years, international humanitarian organizations have been criticizing Israel for building a defense wall between Gaza and some areas of Judea and Samaria. Now, Iran has built kilometers and kilometers of wall to separate the Kurdish area from the rest of the country. Iran could also launch attacks against the Kurds when the time comes, but it relies on that. They know that at any moment they can come in by land and settle scores with the Iranian regime. And they have quite a few pending, quite a few. This looks like Hadrian's Wall. Hadrian's Wall, for those who don't know, was built by the Roman Emperor Hadrian on the island of Great Britain. To defend the Roman legions from the barbarians of the north. There are still remains of that wall, the famous Hadrian's Wall. The Chinese built one to defend themselves from the Mongols, the Huns, all these people. Now Iran is building one. Britain, China, now Iran. Oh my God. Amazing, amazing. There are Desful, Zulfigar. What's this about chemical weapons? Let's stop there. Chemical weapons. What's the truth behind this story? For years, Iran, and I've been saying this, we've had a program for a few weeks where we've been announcing and commenting. Iran has been conducting experiments with nerve agents in laboratories and bacteriological agents. The United Nations says it, intelligence reports say it, and now even Israel is saying it, which hadn't said it until now. And now it's starting to leak out. The situation is clear. Thank you. Why? Why is it a problem? If these missiles are not destroyed at high altitude, outside the atmosphere, it can be a problem. The wind, the temperature conditions can turn very dangerous things into aerosol and create a serious problem. In the 90s, Israel distributed gas masks to its population. Action. People had to go pick up their own. Right? Does anyone have any doubts about Iran? They massacred 30,000 people in 48 hours. Thank you for watching the video. But there's another topic. Another one that's even worse. Let's go to the map. If the intelligence reports are true, Iran has gotten too close to ground zero. They could try to launch ballistic missiles from Iraq and from Lebanon. We know that in the north of Lebanon, there are facilities underground that Israel has not destroyed, I insist. Israel has not gone there to destroy them. Let's go see them. There are places where Israel had not yet reached at the time. I want you to look right there where I'm pointing with the mouse. Those holes are entrances into the mountain. Israel has expressed concern about these places. In fact, we're going to see one that's on this very side. Let's try to go down a little bit. The information we put here, we had put it a year ago, but we're putting it here again. Here it is. Is there data? No, no. Like these facilities, there are many more. We could say it's a civil engineering project. A reservoir is being built, a dam, the wall of the dam. But why does Lebanon need tunnels that go inland? It just so happens also that the company building what you're seeing is paid by Iran. The company, the construction firm, the drilling company is paid by Iran, by a company related to the Revolutionary Guard. Here we see another one of the entrances. Thank you. Which interestingly have been covered up. They've been blurred so we can't see them. Let's look at it from here. There it is, there. We can see it. Right on the opposite shore, we see different levels. This is an example, it's just an example of obviously some of the suspicious facilities in Lebanon where we believe there could be ballistic missiles. During the war with Lebanon, Hezbollah, Iran at some point launched ballistic missiles with a range of 400 kilometers. Some fell in Haifa and others fell in different places. What is the problem with this story, and why is it important that the aircraft carrier, the battle group, arrives? They are too close. They can't launch them nearby. That is the biggest or most dangerous threat from Hezbollah towards Israel, so that people understand you can't launch them near the border. Near the border, you can launch rockets, you can launch drones, you can carry out raids. You can use anti-tank weapons and guided missiles with a range of 15 kilometers. But you can't launch ballistic missiles. A ballistic missile needs enough space to fly, reach its maximum altitude, and re-enter. It's not a cruise missile that flies in a horizontal profile. It follows a quasi-ballistic trajectory. You see how it goes up? It tries to reach the highest altitude so it can then come down at maximum speed and strike the target. This can't be done from the Israeli border. That's why its launch zones are much further north. In the mountains. These places are where they hide a large part of their arsenal, which Israel hasn't touched until now. Hasn't touched it. You have to realize this. It still hasn't been hit, and it should be hit at any moment. We know they hide underground. We know they hide these missiles in civilian buildings. We know that in Beirut itself there are missiles of this type ready to be launched from urban areas. So that's another added problem. Israel will have to make decisions in the next few hours to return to Beirut and start targeting Naim Qassem. Another goal as this war starts may be eliminating Hezbollah's leader. Thank you. Naim Qassem. In the last few hours, he has said that he will not stand aside. If Israel launches an attack against Iran, if it is not going to launch it, or if it is going to launch it, we don't know. But Israel is not going to take the risk. There it is. The Gerald Ford is the key element in this story to provide security to Israel. Thanks to it, the battle group with the destroyers all together will create a very important security ring. Just yesterday, the United States was evacuating personnel from the embassy in Beirut. Evacuations, by the way, breaking news incident. What we're seeing here
is the diplomatic corps.
I'm going to tell you which country they're from. In a second.
Iran is checking the luggage of diplomatic staff from all nations. Any diplomatic staff entering Iran right now are having their luggage checked. In these, specifically, they found satellite phones and Starlink communication systems. There we see it. This is interesting. There was a scandal because they couldn't check the diplomats' suitcases, their diplomatic pouches. They can't be checked. And when they opened them, they found the Starlink. In Iran, it's illegal, but of course this is for diplomatic use. If war occurs, these people must contact their country. Something that is normal and marketed as standard in the West, Israel can use it with restrictions, but it's a crime in Iran. They're paranoid. They're very, very paranoid.
Muy paranoicos.
That paranoia could make them push the button at any moment. What else have they said? Listen to the White House spokesperson. The smiling girl laughs when asked if they're attacking Iran. Here it is, family. It's happening. The United States, let's listen to it. Let's watch it. Washington, D.C. in the morning. What did they say?
And just one more note regarding Iran before I head to my meeting. The first option is always diplomacy.
Trump's first option is diplomacy, diplomatic measures.
But, as he has shown, he is willing to use the lethal force of the United States military.
But he can use the military force of the United States of America if necessary. This is saying, if necessary, we are going to use it.
The president is always the last one in the world, and I have seen a lot of sensationalist reports in the past day. That is completely assumed.
And there are publications right now in the last few days about things that are not true. The media.
Speculating to the media, hiding behind an anonymous source, pretending to know what President Trump is thinking, or a decision he will make with respect to action against Iran, has no idea what they're talking about.
He says you don't know what you're talking about. The media, huh? We're not the media. We're just random people on Twitter. Look at this. Look, this is the future, huh? Swarms of drones. To me, this image, swarms of drones falling. Look, can this really be eliminated easily? But what about the drones with electronic warfare? That's why they've sent so many electronic warfare planes. To make sure that none of them will cross the firing line. There they are, doing their drills in the Strait of Hormuz with their fantasies about their drones and rockets, and with that they think they're going to win the war. It will be tough, but it won't last forever.
And once again, fires in Tehran.
By the way, the Khorramabad base, the one we talked about the other day, caught fire. It has caught fire again. Fade to black once again there. Why? Well, it's for something that's obvious. They're loading the missiles, the Shahab 3s, with fuel. They're doing it quickly. They're doing it at speeds that are too fast, and those missiles end up exploding. They're pushing it too far, and in the end, that carelessness is taking its toll on them. The site in the south of Tehran exploded again as well. The one we saw the other day, the one we discovered live here, this one we're seeing here. We're going to show it again on screen. Fires at this missile site. In this area, what we were talking about happened again. Their planes are crashing. Today a helicopter went down. It killed people. They're nervous. Time is not working against Israel and the United States. Time is working against Iran. The protests are returning to the streets. They know now that if they launch again, an attack on the population could trigger an immediate response. And pay attention to this. We have breaking news. We have breaking news. Breaking news. It seems to be that they have come to an agreement somewhere in the White House and in the United Kingdom. Thank you from Europe. Towards Diego Garcia. Right now, a C-17 plane. In the end, it looks like, yes, we will have the B-52s available, hopefully. Hopefully. It's flying right now towards Diego Garcia. C-17. And there's more news. We have to do a playback quickly. Notice what occurred in the Indian Ocean. Here. What happened here? In Timor. Pre-65. 71. Where do they come from? Who have they taken to Diego Garcia? Tanker planes are returning from Diego Garcia. Who have they taken there? This is getting more and more and more interesting. This came out a few minutes ago at 1:30. The Diego Garcia tankers appeared. A C-17 heading to Diego Garcia. Where are they going? They're heading to Guam. Are they going to pick someone up or did they drop someone off? There? We're watching them. They're already off the radar, but they're there. They're heading north. And over here, another one. Japan. We're not interested in that. Amazing, amazing. Amazing. Well, look at this. Oh my goodness. Incredible. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 tankers. 9 tankers. Roma. The Roman legions arrive. Rome 1, 2, 3 up to 5 Romas. And these, oh my God. Family, see you later. We're heading over to JR, quote unquote. Thank you so much for being live with us. Thank you for your super chats. See you in the next show. Thank you for those memberships, more than 150 memberships from Pavel. Thank you so much, my friend. This afternoon tonight, surprise? Stay tuned to the Judeo-Historia channel, Judeo-Historia. Stay tuned to the channel. That's all I'm going to say. See you in the next show here on Military Strategies.